All right, so we're back with Paul, and he's going to explain to me, anyways, because I didn't really see a difference too much about the difference between conservationists and trail enthusiasts. So, talk about that, and then we're going to move right into the whole involvement in Hike Nation and some of the places you went to see them and the things that you did in the department. So,
well, the interesting juxtaposition and dichotomy was that trail people got so involved in the trail agenda that they seldom had a great broader perspective on other issues that affected that trail experience. Clean air, clean water, wildlife preservation, plants, even natural areas.
Yeah.
They would go on that trail experience, some to an extreme. It was how fast can you make it up and down the Appalachian Trail. There wasn't any discussion about counting flowers or counting birds or things like that. There were some that were very much interested in Hawk Mountain, for example. But in those 14 states that the Appalachian Trail traveled through, I noticed a very strong commitment to the trail, but not much awareness about conservation.
I see.
The difference to me is like a person walking through their own garden. The conservationist sees their plants, sees their influence on the soil, on the responsibilities they have to water, to fertilize, to take care of their roses or whatever they have.
Right.
And they're looking from that walkway. And my mother had the perfect little garden in the back, of our house. It was large enough for her to have quite a number of species of roses and other things. And she was really into that experience.
I see.
Others are focused on that walkway.
I see.
They want that to be special. They want it to meander. They want it to be straight. They want it to be a garden pathway. And the difference globally is that getting people to focus on trails was easier in many instances than it was to get people to focus on the broader conservation and environmental agenda. Because clean air, clean water, things are very intangible. So,
endangered species and microorganisms even.
When it's not in your backyard, it's hard to think about the wolves in Minnesota or the bison in Yellowstone or the endangered plants and animals, tall grass prairie, a plant community that's very rare.
Which hikers, if they have too many of them going down, making their own pathways, can ruin some of those very environmental systems that survive and thrive that we need.
It's very interesting when for example, the tall grass prairie, which I was very committed to from a long time before. It wasn't just that I was from that part of the country.
I see.
It was because people like Dick Poe, a great conservationist, and Gilbert Stucker, another great one, had talked to me in New York and said, the missing national park unit is the tall grass prairie. The most important piece they felt, besides the ones that we had just established in Alaska, which I was honored to be part of that whole Alaska D2 settlement, was the tall grass prairie. And so I spent a lot of time looking through Kansas on my own because it was difficult to find any support in Kansas. The political people all opposed it. Public hearings were definitely opposed to that sort of experience.
Well, there aren't that many parks nationwide with the tall grass.
That's right. It's a very rare, and yet it's unique to the United States. So we created the Tall Grass Prairie National Park, and it was probably...
I think we got a book here.
This is called The Last Stand of the Tall Grass Prairie, a great book written by folks who really did some wonderful job in the photographs and the portrayals of it. This is a special place called...
Near and dear to his heart.
Spring Hill Farm, which
Can you
was
see it?
Closer to the center of that national park.
Sorry, Paul, you're blocked, but
good.
We're going to point out, he said there's Pritchard's Point here.
That's right.
That they named after him.
The Kansas Geological Society made that on the map, and I'm very proud. Very seldom do you see a place named after somebody, but that was there. But this park reflects not only the preservation of these incredible wildflowers, but also the historic nature of these empire architectural styles of the ranchers who lived there at that time.
Oh.
But so it's a combination park, but that
Right.
was a tough battle.
Right.
Tough battle, and especially when you have politicians who are opposed to it. But the most important thing about was getting national attention on, and most of our national trails are north-south.
Right.
And the wonderful thing about the hykenation was that it was east-west.
East-west. So
East-west.
we're going to talk about the east-west in
Yeah.
the next section.